What if I told you that one of the most comfortable, safest, and most elegant cars ever built was also hiding a countdown timer to a 5,000-pound repair bill? Welcome to the paradox of the W211 E-Class. It is a masterpiece of German engineering that sometimes feels like it was designed by a committee of brilliant rocket scientists and a single, very disgruntled accountant who wanted to watch the world burn. In the world of used luxury cars, this is the ultimate gamble. It is the car that promised to bring Mercedes-Benz back to the top of the mountain after the rust-prone years of the late 90s. It is beautiful, it is sophisticated, and if you buy the wrong one, it will ruin your life. But if you buy the right one, well, you might just have the best daily driver ever made. Now, pull up a chair and let us be honest. If you are thinking of buying one of these today, you are either a financial genius or someone who enjoys living on the edge of a jagged cliff while wearing slippery shoes. It is the Mercedes that almost broke the company's reputation for over-engineering. But if you know where the traps are buried, it might just be the best car you will ever own. My name is Jack, and I have spent more time under these cars than I have spent in this pub. Today, I am going to expose every hidden flaw, every digital gremlin, and every mechanical trap that Mercedes left for the unsuspecting first-time buyer. We are going to dive deep into the bones of the W211 to see if you are a genius or a madman. To understand the 211, you have to understand the mess it was trying to fix. Its predecessor, the 210, was a bit of a disaster. It rusted if you even looked at it on a damp Tuesday, and the interior plastics felt like they came from a toy shop. Mercedes poured $2 billion into the development of the 211. They wanted to reclaim the throne. They packed it with more computers than the Apollo 11 mission and used high-strength steels that were supposed to last forever. They were so desperate to be innovative that they forgot one simple rule of car building. Just because you can do something with a computer does not mean you should. And that brings us to our first major nightmare. In the early 2000s, Mercedes decided that mechanical brakes were far too simple. They wanted a computer to decide how much stopping power you needed. It is called SBC, Sensotronic Brake Control. It is brake-by-wire. There is no physical connection between your foot and the brake calipers under normal driving. Instead, when you press the pedal, a computer reads the pressure and tells a high-pressure pump to stop the car. In theory, it is brilliant. It can dry your brakes in the rain by lightly touching the pads to the discs. It can stop you faster than a panicked cat in an emergency. But as we all know, brilliance often comes with a very high price tag. Inside that SBC pump is what enthusiasts call a suicide counter. Every single time you touch that brake pedal, the computer records it. 1, 2, 10,000. Mercedes decided that the internal components of the pump have a finite life. When you hit that limit, usually around 300,000 presses, the car panics. It throws a message on your dashboard that says, "Service Brake Visit Workshop." If you ignore it, the light goes red, and suddenly, you have the braking power of a wet paper bag. You are left with only the front brakes and no power assistance. Replacing that pump is 2,000 pounds. Luckily, Mercedes eventually realized this was a safety risk and issued a 25-year warranty in North America, but in the rest of the world, you are often on your own. Then we have the airmatic suspension. It was standard on the V8 models and optional on the V6s. When it works, you are floating on a cloud of Bavarian silk. It adjusts to every bump in the road and keeps the car level no matter how many pies you have eaten. But when it fails, your car performs what we call the sag of despair. You come out in the morning and find your beautiful Mercedes looking like a tired elephant trying to sit down in the mud. Usually, it is a tiny leak in the rubber airbags. The compressor then works overtime to keep up with the leak, eventually burning itself out in a final, expensive puff of smoke. If you see the warning, "Stop, car too low," do not keep driving. You are about to burn out a 1,000-pound pump. Replacing a full set of air struts is like buying the car all over again. It is a 4,000-pound reality check. A single strut from the dealership can cost more than a decent used hatchback. This is why many owners eventually give up and convert the car to traditional coil springs. It loses that magic carpet ride, and you will feel the bumps a bit more, but at least you will not wake up to a car that is physically unable to leave the driveway. If you are buying a used 211, check the suspension immediately. Push down on every corner. If it feels bouncy, or if one side is lower than the other, walk away. It is the sound of your savings account crying into its beer. Now, let us talk about the strawberry milkshake. No, it is not a delicious treat from the pub. It is the nickname for a catastrophic design flaw in early radiators made by a company called Valeo. Between 2002 and late 2003, these radiators had a nasty habit of leaking coolant into the transmission fluid cooler. When those two fluids mix, it creates a thick pink sludge. That sludge is absolutely lethal to your torque converter and the clutch plates in your transmission. If your car starts vibrating like a mobile phone on a wooden table when you are cruising at 40 miles per hour, your transmission is likely drinking that milkshake. Always check the brand of the radiator. If it says Bear, you can relax. If it says Valeo, check the date. If it is an old one, you are playing Russian roulette with your gearbox. That pink sludge is the death of your torque converter. If your car starts vibrating like a mobile phone on a wooden table, you might already be too late. Check for the Bear tag instead. If you are looking at a facelift model from 2005 to 2007, you need to be very careful with the M272 V6 engine. Mercedes used a soft metal for the balance shaft sprocket to save a bit of weight and money. Over time, the timing chain literally eats the teeth off the gear. It is like a mechanical shark chewing on its own internal organs. Once the timing drifts just a few degrees, you get a check engine light and codes P0016 or P0017. Repairing this is a nightmare. It is an engine-out job that requires stripping the entire front of the motor. It costs £5,000. It is the ultimate hidden flaw because the engine will sound perfectly fine until the day the light comes on. Check those serial numbers before you buy. Now, it is not all doom and gloom. If you buy an earlier pre-facelift car, you might get the M112 V6 or the M113 V8. These engines are, quite frankly, bulletproof. They are simple 3-valve per cylinder units that will easily do 300,000 miles if you change the oil once in a while. They do not have balance shaft issues, and they are relatively easy to work on. They are thirsty, yes, and they have 16 spark plugs to change on the V8, which is a bit of a chore, but they will never let you down. If you want the most reliable mechanical heart for your 211, these older engines are the ones to choose. They represent the last of the truly over-engineered Mercedes power plants before things got a bit too clever for their own good. For the high-mileage heroes, we have to talk about the diesels, specifically the OM648 straight 6. In the UK, this is the legendary engine. It is smooth, it has mountains of torque, and it can cover half the world on a single tank of fuel. These engines are known to do 500,000 miles in European taxis. The only real issue is the Black Death, a leak from the fuel injector seals that creates a hard, black carbon buildup on top of the engine. If you catch it early, it is a cheap fix. If you leave it, it will weld the injectors into the head. But overall, a well-maintained straight 6 diesel is probably the smartest way to own a 211 if you do a lot of motorway miles. Just listen for any chuffing sounds from the engine bay. The W211 is also quite power-hungry. It has more computers than a mid-sized office building, and it loves to drain its batteries. There are these things called Signal Acquisition Modules, or SAM units. Think of them as electronic fuse boxes with a mind of their own. There is one in the front and one in the rear. If they get even a tiny bit of moisture on them, perhaps from a blocked sunroof drain, your car starts doing very strange things. Your wipers might turn on when it is sunny, or your alarm might go off at 3 in the morning just to annoy your neighbors. And then there is the steering lock on later models. If the motor in that lock fails, your car is effectively a 2-ton paperweight. You cannot even turn the key. It is a specialized repair that will leave you stranded and much poorer. Because it is so electronically complex, the 211 has a dual battery system. There is a massive battery in the trunk for starting the engine and running the main systems, and a smaller auxiliary battery under the hood specifically to provide backup power for those SBC brakes we talked about earlier. If that little battery dies, you will get a white warning on the dash. If the main battery starts to fail, the car will start shutting down non-essential systems to save power. Suddenly, your heated seats will stop working and your rear window defroster will quit. It is not a broken seat. It is just your car being a bit of a power miser. Always keep these batteries in top condition or the car will drive you mad with ghost malfunctions that do not actually exist. Step inside and you will see where that $2 billion went. The interior of a 211 is a lovely place to be. The wood is real, the leather is thick, and the ergonomics are nearly perfect. It feels substantial in a way that modern cars just do not. However, the technology has aged a bit. The early COMAND infotainment system feels like something from the Stone Age now. It is slow, the navigation is useless, and it does not have Bluetooth for your phone. Many owners replace the whole unit with a modern Android screen, which is a bit of a shame for the aesthetic but a godsend for daily life. Check the seat adjustment motors too. The modules under the seats are known to fail and can actually drain your battery overnight by staying awake while the car is off. It is another one of those hidden traps. One of the biggest improvements over the old 210 was rust protection. From late 2003 onwards, Mercedes started fully galvanizing the bodies of the 211. This means that for the most part, these cars do not rust. However, you should still check the rear wheel arches and the bottom of the doors, especially on early cars. If you see bubbles under the paint, it means the car has had a hard life or was involved in a poor repair. The paint quality itself is excellent. Mercedes used a ceramic clear coat that is very resistant to scratches. A well-kept 211 can still look brand new after 20 years. It is one of the few things about this car that will not keep you up at night worrying about your bank balance. In June 2006, Mercedes released the facelift, and for many, this was the salvation of the E-Class. They changed over 2,000 parts. Most importantly, they threw the SBC brake system into the bin and replaced it with a traditional, reliable hydraulic system. They fixed the radiator issues, updated the interior, and improved the steering. If you want the most trouble-free experience, the facelift is the one to buy. It looks a bit sharper too, with pointier headlights and a more aggressive grille. It represents the moment Mercedes remembered how to build a car that does not require a computer science degree to maintain. It is the version of the car that people actually want to keep forever. When everything is working, driving a 211 is a sensory delight. There is a sense of hewn-from-granite solidity that is hard to find elsewhere. It does not crash over bumps, it simply dismisses them. The steering is weighted perfectly for a luxury cruiser. Not too twitchy, but very precise. At 70 miles per hour on the motorway, it is incredibly quiet. You could whisper to your passenger and be heard perfectly. It is a car that lowers your heart rate. It makes you feel like you have already arrived, no matter how far you have to go. This is why people put up with the repair bills. Once you have experienced the serenity of a healthy 211, everything else feels a bit thin and noisy. If you are serious about buying one, you need more than just a quick look around the block. You need a specialized diagnostic tool. A generic 50-pound scanner from the internet will not tell you half of what is going on. You need something like a STAR or Zentry system, or at least a high-end aftermarket scanner that can talk to every module in the car. You want to look for stored codes. The car might not have a check engine light on, but the SAM units might be reporting 1,000 communication errors. This is how you find the hidden electronic ghosts before they become your problem. If the seller will not let you scan the car, walk away immediately. They are hiding something, and that something likely costs more than the car is worth. Beyond the electronics, there are the physical checks. Check the service history for gearbox oil changes. Mercedes originally said the transmission fluid was filled for life, which was a lie. It needs to be changed every 40,000 miles. If it has never been done and the car has 100,000 miles, the gearbox is on borrowed time. Feel the carpets in the footwells. Any dampness means a leak that is likely frying a computer module nearby. Look at the tires. If the inner edges are worn, the front suspension bushings are shot, which is a common and fiddly repair. These cars are heavy, and they eat suspension components for breakfast. A mountain of receipts is your best friend when buying a used Mercedes. The market for these cars is a bit strange. You can find a high-mileage pre-facelift for £2,000, but as we have learned, that is the most expensive car in the world. A late facelift model with low mileage and a full service history might cost you £8,000 or £9,000. It sounds like a lot for an old car, but in the long run, it is the bargain. You are paying for peace of mind and the work that someone else has already done. Do not be tempted by the cheap ones with missing service books and minor issues. There is no such thing as a minor issue on a W211. Buy the best one you can possibly afford and then keep a £2,000 emergency fund in a separate bank account. You will thank me later. We should briefly mention the specialists. There is the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which is great for the snow but adds complexity and makes some repairs, like the oil pan gasket, a nightmare. And then there is the legendary E55 AMG. It is a supercharged beast that can embarrass modern supercars. It has all the problems of a standard 211, but with the added cost of AMG parts. It is a magnificent, terrifying machine that will eat your tires and your wallet in equal measure. Unless you are a dedicated enthusiast with a very large bank account, stick to the standard models for your first taste of the 211 experience. The V6 is more than enough for most people. So, what is the final verdict? Is the W211 E-Class a masterpiece or a mistake? The truth is, it is both. It is a magnificent machine that was built at the crossroads of mechanical excellence and electronic overambition. If you buy a well-maintained facelift model with the right engine, you are a genius. You have a car that is safer, more comfortable, and more elegant than almost anything else on the road for the same money. But if you buy a neglected early car because it was cheap, well, I will see you here at the pub. We will have a lot to talk about while we wait for the recovery truck. It is a car that demands respect, knowledge, and a bit of a sense of humor. Good luck and happy hunting. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the hidden flaws of the W211. I hope this guide helps you find the perfect E-Class for your driveway. Remember, a Mercedes is not just a car, it is a relationship. Keep it well maintained and it will take care of you. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your cars. Que Deus te abençoe. Amém.